series of Prowisdom, where we bring in industry leaders, experts and professionals from various domains who are subject experts in their own field. They share their life journey with us. They share the experiences which made them who they are today, the challenges which they faced in their life, and what did they learn. So the message for all the students is you can become what you want to become, and you can learn from the industry leaders through our initiatives. Join me in welcoming Mr. Aditya Kumar. He is the Managing Director of Ashwani and Associates. He is a qualified chartered accountant as well as a lawyer. He brings in 13 years of work experience with 6 years as an employee in PwC, and then for the last 7 years handling his family business, wherein they have offices and presence in 3 cities, which is Delhi, Ludhiana and Chandigarh. Hi Aditya, we welcome you.
Thank you, Puneet.
Hi.
Pleasure to be here.
So Aditya, tell us about your journey. I mean, what excited you to join chartered accountancy as a profession?
Yeah, that's a good question. In the sense that it wasn't me who chose to join the profession, it was my family. My grandmother, she kind of literally pushed it down my throat that you don't have much of an option.
Okay.
But I thank her for that. And it was basically a family of professionals. So
Okay.
the choice that I had was between a doctor or a chartered accountant or a lawyer. So doctor was maybe a little too difficult for me.
Okay.
So I chose to be a chartered accountant.
Okay.
And I still remember I had come back from my school. I was in a boarding, and my grandmother just said that nothing. I wanted to do civil services actually.
Okay.
And my grandmother said that no, you can never do a job. You know, so I was like, why not? I mean, at the end of the day, dignity of labor and things like that.
Yes.
So she said nothing like that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, nothing doing. You have to do your chartered accountancy.
Okay.
I said, okay, fair enough. I'll give it a shot. I gave it. I found it interesting. I was good with numbers, as they say. It kind of ran in my blood.
Right.
And tax litigation, and I found it very interesting. So I think then there was no looking back. I did my intern, then I started my articleship with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and that in itself was a tremendous experience and a great learning curve. And so yeah, that's been my journey so far in terms of my professional career.
Great. You seem happy in your profession, and that's the secret. People should be happy what they are doing. That's the way they can reach the best in their professional field. So tell us, how did you get that internship opportunity in PricewaterhouseCoopers? That's a world leading organization.
Yes.
And internship is a valued proposition for all the students.
Right.
So how was your journey to get an internship?
Okay, so that again one of the conditions that I put up to my grandmother when she said that I wanted to do your chartered accountancy, I said that I will not do my articleship with my father.
Okay.
Because what happens is that then people don't respect you as an article. They see
Okay.
you as the boss's son.
Okay.
So
that's a strong point.
So I said that's not happening. I looked up and I applied to PwC, KPMG, EY, Deloitte, and I got a call from Pricewaterhouse, and I went for my interview. At that point in time, they never had a written interview. It was just a verbal interview with one of the senior managers.
Okay.
And I can share a small insight with you.
Yes.
They asked me, what are your favorite subjects? I told them English and maths.
Okay.
So this lady, Miss Shalini, she says that if you like English, why are you here? You should be writing poems and stories. What are you doing in Pricewaterhouse?
Right.
I said, ma'am, you asked me for my passion. That's surely my passion. But this is what I want to make my profession.
Right.
So I feel that maybe somewhere down the line what hit them in their minds was that I was very clear in what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Right. And of course, they had to grill me on accounts and taxation and stuff like that, and I was well prepared for that. So the point that you asked, that what is it that got me there, I think 2 things: confidence.
True.
And knowledge of the subject that they want you to be aware of.
Okay.
Because at that stage in life, you don't have that much of knowledge.
No.
I won't say that a person who's coming for an articleship, he would know the Income Tax Act at the back of his hand.
True.
Right? So what I would want is that they should have the ability to look up. So let's say I ask them a question, they should be able to look up and tell me where this is. So I'm looking at those kind of abilities, the ability to, to kind of research, to kind of find out where the relevant information is.
Okay.
Even I probably would not know the Income Tax Act by back of my hand, but if you ask me a question, I know where to look.
Got it.
Right? So I'm looking for those, and I'm looking for someone who, if they have the kind of
an organization like yours for doing an internship, or in the legal language, articleship. What's the process, and how can a student, without having a network with you or without knowing you, how can anybody approach an organization? So guide us some ways young students can approach organizations to apply for articleship.
Sure. So Puneet, I think in order to apply for articleship these days, most of the firms, you can go online.
Okay.
And there will be a career section, and they can go apply online.
Okay.
It's fairly transparent in most of the organizations, and it's so in our organization as well.
Okay.
You can go online, there's a career tab, you can go and apply online.
Right.
And the process that goes on from there is that if you have applied online, we scan through your resume, and if we find it interesting enough, we send out an invite for you to come to our office.
Okay.
We have a written test. So very often I feel that students come unprepared.
Oh.
They feel that it's just chale gaye and ho jayega.
Okay.
It's not like that.
Okay.
And I'm talking maybe for my firm, but if you, let's say you're going for PwC, you will probably be studying the whole night.
True.
So that element needs to change. People need to come in prepared for anything. I mean, even if it's a verbal, I can ask you anything, because at the end of the day, I'm looking for some little bit of technical knowledge.
Yes.
But when I will take you to a client, I can't take you there saying that, you don't know anything, I have to teach you from scratch.
Got it.
So you need to have that little bit of background and the ability to research. You say, here's the Income Tax Act, here's the Finance Act, here's the accounting standards, and you answer accordingly what you think. So we get to know the person's thought process, how he thinks, how he is able to research, how does he interpret a particular line, how does he interpret a particular law. So these are the things that we look for when we're asking someone to article with us, and we also employ a very rigorous process. So there's that, as I said, there's a written exam, then there is a interview, and invariably either me or my father takes an interview, and then the partners take a collective decision who we are going to hire as an article. And why I'm stressing on this is because it is these articles who later on become our employees.
Fantastic. Yes.
Because you see, I am investing a lot of resource into them. They're learning my practices, they're learning my procedures, and I don't want to let them go after 3 years. I want to keep them. They have been my backbone, and I want them to be my backbone going forward.
True.
So that's how we get articles registered with us.
A lot of people feel that clearing a CA examination is one of the toughest in India. What was your secret when you were a student?
You see, I will say what almost everybody says, that hard work is the secret to any success. And my environment that I got, it was a quiet environment, and I had my father, my grandfather to fall back on if I didn't understand anything. So I had that background.
So having a close network of professionals who are into that profession already helps a student to clear their doubts while they are preparing.
And I will add one more thing here. You see, doing your articleship makes a lot of difference. Because you learn the practical aspects of what you have studied or what you're studying.
Maybe if you could guide us with an example, the students would be able to relate with one law and its practical.
Sure, I'll give you an example. And I'll give you my example.
Sure.
So there's a particular section called Section 297 under the Companies Act, which requires that if you're entering into a transaction with a related party, it needs to have a board approval, and if the authorized capital of the company is more than ₹1 crore, it should have a central government approval. So I had studied it, and I thought it's a very normal provision under the Act. But during my auditing procedure, and I'm not going to name any companies in this, we found a company which was infringing this law.
Okay.
I found it during my audit procedure.
Right.
So I got lauded by my entire team, by my seniors. They said, "Wow, you've come up with a great issue."
Right.
And I tell you, I mean, I became such an expert on that matter that in my examination, if that question came, I would just, I'd be able to write it to the T, because I knew a practical experience. I could give them the example in my question, So it was a great experience in terms of how theoretical and practical knowledge can really help you remember things very well. Till date, I remember that transaction. I remember this law.
Because of that example.
Because of that example. It's not just that I'm here to look at your books.
Right.
Sometimes I can be your customer also.
Okay.
I could be telling you some things that I feel are important for your growth.
Right.
Because my growth lies in your growth.
True.
Right. So I want you to grow. So if there are certain practices that I see within the organization which I feel are bringing you down, I will be the first one to tell you that you got to watch out for this.
Can they be self-employed? Can they start their own business?
Okay.
Or is it better for them to work under an organization in the beginning? How can someone chart a course and should they start on their own or should they work with an organization in the beginning? Your experience and your suggestions.
Yes. So traditionally people used to get into their own practice.
Okay.
If I'm talking 50 years ago, people would just become a chartered accountant and they start their own practice.
Right.
But today, there is like a sea of opportunities, a sea of them.
Sure.
Earlier, people used to focus only on tax litigation.
Right.
That used to be if you would say I'm a chartered accountant, you would be just considered someone who knows the tax.
Okay.
But it's not just that. In today's scenario, a chartered accountant can do costing, can do analytics, can do banking, can be good at tax, can be good at accounting, auditing, capital markets. So there's no end of it.
Got it.
And there is a dearth of good professionals in the industry.
Okay.
The younger generation, I feel, while becoming chartered accountants, are missing out on their practical trainings. Why does everybody want to go to PricewaterhouseCoopers to train? Why? Because they're getting some tangible benefit. End of the day. The kind of network you build, the kind of people you meet, the kind of work you do, because you're handling audit of maybe Fortune 500 companies, the sizable companies, you're learning technical knowledge. In a smaller organization, you may not be able to apply all the laws.
True.
They're such large corporations, such complex transactions. You need to be on your tips with the law. Because the CFO will just ask you, what do I do with this? You can't say that, let me go back home, I'll do some research and I'll get back to you.
Right.
He wants an answer there and then.
Right.
So it's a very dynamic work experience to work in organizations as that. And when I came back, and my endeavor here at my firm is always this, that I am able to give that similar experience, if not the exact,
Right.
to my articles.
How much is the value of knowing the international laws in your business? Because a lot of your customers or future customers may be multinationals. So for a chartered accountant, knowing the laws of the land are important, or knowing the other international laws is also suggested.
You see, you practically can't know everything.
Right.
But to have a gist, a brief understanding, so let's say of the US, what is the SEC, what are the auditing norms there,
Okay.
the IFRS.
Okay.
So today's world has become very specialized. So you have to develop your niche and you work towards that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But having just a little bit of knowledge will help you, because if you're doing your own practice and you want to maybe get some business in that line, you can always, if you know only, then you'll be able to sell it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you may not be able to deliver personally. So you'll need to maybe hire a team in the United States, a team in the United Kingdoms, and then maybe work as a multidisciplinary team that is able to provide services all across the globe.
Okay.
That's how most of the big 10 firms
they operate. Program in management from Columbia Business School. That's an intensive 9-month program focusing on strategy, leadership, and finance. So, what prompted you to upskill yourself after being, highly qualified in India? What prompted you to gain more skills? Tell us about your experience and the skills learned.
So, I think it's an ever-learning experience. Life is ever-learning, and I felt that time is now to maybe enhance my skills in finance. And since Columbia is considered the holy grail of finance, my agenda was that I wanted to get more experience in finance.
Okay.
And more so in terms of valuations, in terms of corporate finance, because that's a new line of service we started about a year ago.
Okay.
We're doing private equity, we're helping companies do due diligence, we do their valuations. So that was the basic premise that I felt that I need to hone my skills further.
Okay.
Because in the chartered accountancy profession, you just, as I said, you just get a little bit of it. You don't go deeper into the concept and idea. So that was what drove me to do this course. And yes, it was a fantastic experience. I cannot say that. I would say that everybody who gets an opportunity must go for it.
Okay.
Right? It helped me develop not only knowledge in finance, it has given me such a wonderful insight into leadership, strategy, and above all, it has given me great friends.
Right.
And as people say, MBA is a place where you go to network.
Yes.
And this is the group that you will stay with for future years. They will be the ones you will be interacting with, and it was a very, very interactive lot, and I had a great time with that.
Any particular skill which you learned which you had not anticipated? Probably like social skill you were referring to.
Yes.
Or some other strategy of transient advantage. Tell us something which surprised you in the program.
So one of the things that surprised me was that somebody who would ask me how was work, I would often say things are great, hunky dory,
right?
And so one of the sessions we had with one of our professors was on the end of the competitive advantage.
Okay.
And she said this same thing. The moment you are saying that things are hunky dory, that's a trigger point for you to think, is your competitive advantage coming to an end?
Fantastic.
And it kind of just struck a chord.